Hi, welcome to my Cozy Book Nook. I'm Molly, and today I'm going to talk about the books that I plan to read for next month's March Mystery Madness Challenge. It has been quite a while since I have participated in a reading challenge. I used to do them all the time when I had my book review blog. But I found myself getting into a pretty negative pattern of signing up for all of these challenges because they sounded so wonderful and there were so many books that I wanted to read. But inevitably, I never read as much as I thought I was going to, and then I felt like a failure, and then that just wasn't good. And so I haven't done them in quite some time. But over the past couple of weeks, I've been watching lots of booktubers, and I found Elizabeth at Lizzie Faye Loves Books, and she was talking about this challenge. I think this is her third year to host the challenge. And I thought, I'm on a psychological thriller reading kick anyway, so it just seemed like the perfect time to maybe dip my toe into another reading challenge. So she has it organized. There's actually 6 different categories of books, mystery books to read. I'm not sure that I'm going to finish reading all 6, but I do have 6 selected, and so I thought I would go ahead and share those with you today. So the first one is books on, well, it's the first challenge is just shelf, the one word shelf. And you can take that to mean whatever you want it to mean. It could be on your own personal bookshelf. It could be on your Goodreads, want to read bookshelf. It could be on a library bookshelf. So I am choosing The Woman in Cabin 10. I actually just bought this book about a week and a half ago, so technically it is on my own bookshelf, although not for very long. And I am cheating just a little bit. So I started reading the book 2 days ago. I'm about 40% in, but I know I'm not going to finish it before March 1st, so technically I will be reading it in March. So this will be the first book that I will read and I will finish. I will say this, it took me a while to get into the book. I almost stopped it, but I'm glad I persevered because now it's getting really interesting. And even though I think I might have a hint of how it might end, guesses are I'm wrong. So anyway, I'm looking forward to finishing the book in March. The second category, I believe, is borrowed. And so for this one, I'm going to read Big Little Lies by Leanne Moriarty. I know it's been out there on HBO. I know it won all kinds of awards. I am completely ignorant of the television series, and I haven't read any of her books. So I thought, you know what, now is a pretty good time to do that. And plus I've heard good reviews from friends of mine who have similar reading tastes. So I borrowed this from the library today, and hopefully I can get it read before 3 weeks when it will be due back to the library. The third category is new, I think. And so I interpreted that as new to me. And so for this one, I'm going to be reading Misery by Stephen King. I have yet to read a Stephen King book, except for I did read his memoir on writing several times, and I did read the historical book that he wrote. Was it 11/22/63, I think. And I really like that one, but I know that that is not typical Stephen King, and I'm not quite sure that I'm ready for it. I'm not quite sure that I'm ready for the horror of the book, much less the 1,300 pages of the book. But this one is kind of right up my alley. It's pretty thin. My understanding is it's about a writer, so that would be perfect for me. I've had other people recommend this book as a good first Stephen King book. The other book that they've recommended is The Strand. And so maybe, well, The Strand and The Shining. So those are 2 more Stephen King books that if I like this one, I am ready to go with reading more Stephen King. But that goes on my new list. The next one was historical fiction, and boy, I had a really tough time picking this one. But I happened to just recently buy this, The Storyteller by Jodi Picoult, and I think it classifies. So let me just read. This is actually in the acknowledgments section, which is not where you would typically find perhaps a summary of what the book is about, but let me just read the first paragraph. It says, "This book began with another, The Sunflower by Simon Wiesenthal. While a prisoner in a Nazi concentration camp, Wiesenthal was brought to the deathbed of an SS soldier who wanted to confess and be forgiven by a Jew. The moral conundrum in which Wiesenthal found himself has been the starting point for many philosophical and moral analyses about the dynamics between victims of genocide and the perpetrators. And it got me thinking about what would happen if the same request was made decades later to a Jewish prisoner's granddaughter. So I think that qualifies as historical. And I have read several of Jodi Picoult's books in the past and have thoroughly enjoyed them. So I look forward to reading this one. The next, so number 5 on the list of 6 challenges, is foreign. And so the book that I've chosen for that is Still Life by Louise Penny. This has been on my bookshelf for years. Many years. I don't even remember the last time I got it. I know that it's a series of books. I know that they are well loved by mystery lovers throughout. I understand it's a great series that talks about setting, which is what I love. It takes place in Montreal and Quebec, which I love that whole French concept. So anyway, I think I'm going to try to finally read the first in the series, and hopefully that'll get me hooked to read more. And then the last one is Opposite. And I had no idea what that really meant. To me, opposites means 2 books, and I thought, oh, good grief, I can't even read 5, much less 7. But several people seem to be interpreting this as perhaps reading something that is opposite what they usually read. And so I thought, I don't read short stories at all. I would like to, but I do tend to be a novel person. So this was sitting on my shelf, American Gothic Tales. It was kind of put together and edited by Joyce Carol Oates, but it's by all kinds of different writers. So I thought either this one or the other thing that I thought, I just don't happen to have it here at the house, is perhaps some of Sherlock Holmes stories. I've only read 1 or 2. I would like to read more, and like I said, short stories is just a genre that I never think about picking up. So maybe this would be a great challenge to kind of get me over that hump and experiment with that a little bit. So anyway, those are the books that I plan to read. I'm really looking forward to the challenge. I'm looking forward to hopefully connecting with other lovers of mysteries and thrillers, and I can add even more books to my TBR pile. But there you have it. So thanks so much, and until next time, take care.